Okay, so the next stage that we're going to do in this project is we're going to cut out our material. So we've already marked our piece of wood and we've marked it into 2 equal pieces. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this directly in half using a saw. Okay, so the saw you're going to be using is this one here. You will have it on your desk. This is called a tenon saw. Okay, it's really good for cutting straight lines in wood because of a nice straight blade here. Obviously, we've got the sharp bit here, which we need be a little bit careful of. We don't want anyone cutting themselves. Okay, so I'm going to be using a tenon saw, and the other thing we're going to use is this. This is called a bench hook. Okay, and it hooks on the side of your bench in your vise to allow you to cut the wood and give you a nice stable support to actually cut your wood correctly and straight. Okay, it also, the other thing it does, it also protects the table from getting any more damage than it already is. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up your bench hook. I'm going to show you how to use your tenon saw to actually cut the material and cut your piece of wood directly in half. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need to do to cut out your piece of wood is you're going to need to open your vise. Okay, so you open your vise like this by rotating the handle, and what we're looking to do is get it far enough open so we can put our bench hook in like so. Now I'm left-handed, so I will have the cut on the left-hand side. If you're right-handed, you want it that way around, so you're cutting on the right-hand side. So you're cutting on this side of the bench hook. So I'm left-handed. I'm going to place this into my vise to give myself a nice stable platform to cut on. And then going to do it my vise. Now your bench hook should be nice and tight. It shouldn't be wobbling around. It should be nice and tight in your vise like so. Okay, so the next stage we're going to do is we're going to place our piece of wood onto our bench hook, and what we want to be doing is we want to be cutting on the bench hook here. You want to be cutting close to the edge that's actually holding your piece of wood. Okay, so what we don't want to be doing is see some students cutting out here. If you cut out here, it's going to wobble around and actually not be so stable. So we're going to move that line right close to this section of wood here, so we're cutting. Now, how do we hold a tenon saw? We pick up our tenon saw and we want to hold it. We want to put our hands through here like this. So this is my left hand, and then we want to put our index finger along the top. Okay, that makes it nice and stable. Okay, so nice and stable. If I had it just like this, there's a chance it can wobble around and it won't be so accurate. Okay, cutting this piece of wood is all about accuracy. It's not about how quick you do it. So what you want to do is you want to use your hand and your thumb to support the wood, and then put your 4 fingers behind it so it's nice and stable, so it's not wobbling around. Okay, what we're then going to do is my index finger along the top, I'm going to angle my tenon saw and put it on my line, and then to start me off, I'm going to drag it back. So I'm just going to drag it back, drag it back, drag it back, keep my tenon saw at the angle, not damaging my desk, but just keeping it at the angle, drag it back like that. Okay, and what that does is that gives me a little bit of a channel just to start. If you start cutting forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, what happens is it probably won't be it will jump all over the place and it won't give you a nice channel to start. So drag back 3 or 4 times until you've got a nice channel like so, and then you can start cutting. So we're looking for nice even strokes, going forward and back using all of the tenon saw. Okay, and what we're also looking to do is keep our tenon saw nice and straight. When I'm looking down on it, I should only be able to see the top of our tenon saw like that. Okay, we don't want to be cutting at that angle, this angle, or wonky angles. We want to try and keep on our line as much as we possibly can and have a nice straight cut. So let's have a go at cutting this now. Okay, so as you get close to the end, there's a real temptation to just snap it in half. Okay, please don't do that. What happens is it splinters and it will ruin the quality of your work. So you want to keep cutting until both pieces are completely separate. As you get further in, you want to flatten out your tenon saw so it's horizontal, so you're cutting all sections. Okay, if you keep it angled, you'll cut here, but you won't cut at this end. Okay, so I'm nearly through now, so I'm just going to get the last bit now. There we go. And we're looking for a nice straight cut. If you've done this correctly, you shouldn't really see much of your pencil line left, and it should be, you should have two pieces that are exactly the same height, like so. Okay, so two pieces are exactly the same height. Don't worry if you go slightly wonky or you find this difficult. We will later on, we will sand all this nice and square, and it will all turn out fine anyway. Okay, if you have difficulty supporting the piece of wood like this, we can put a clamp on here. Have a chat to your DT teacher and they will give you some assistance with that. Okay, so that is how we cut the two pieces of wood in half.